Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lakota East High School, home of the Thunderhawks. Tonight in the Hawks Nest, we have a conference opener between Lakota East and Middletown Middies. I'm Dave Royce with my partner here, Varsity, and we're going to pause for the national anthem. Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Hawks Nest for tonight's opener, again against Lakota East and the Middletown Middies. Ken, what do you think we'll see tonight with these two teams in their first conference play?
Dave, we got an exciting matchup here. We got Lakota East, we got Middletown East coming off a big win against Milford last week, beating them 35-0. Middletown struggled against Sycamore. They're 0-2. Dave, it is a bright night here. Beautiful. We've got a couple blimps flying overhead with the balloons. Dave, I hope you brought your sunglasses. I don't know if you saw the student section out there, but there's some awfully fluorescent colors there in the student section.
Yeah, tonight is fluorescent night down in the student section. It's also Future Hawk night, so all the feeder schools are here. All the kids that are going to become Thunderhawks one day are down in the south end zone there, getting ready for the team to run out through Human Tunnel. There's a good shot of the student section there in their neon as we get ready for this conference opener here at the Hawks Nest.
Beautiful night for football, Dave. It's upper 70s, mid 70s, and probably about 40 degrees cooler in the booth here than it was 2 weeks ago at this time.
Oh, yeah, a lot cooler than it was a few weeks ago and against that season opener against Moeller. But, boy, you're right, Ken. We have a great night for football tonight. Weather couldn't be better, like you said. Temperatures just right there. As you saw, the band's in the house. The student section is at full capacity down there. And we just can't wait for the kickoff here as the Future Hawks form up to make their Human Tunnel.
Dave, this is so exciting for them. Look at the smile on those kids' faces. They're going to make a tunnel along with the band members. The team is going to run out, probably get some high fives there. It's something those kids, these football players, they're role models for these kids. Some of them realize it, some of them don't. But whether they realize it or not, they are the role models, and these kids can't wait to high five some of the high school athletes that they look up to.
Absolutely, and some of those men down in the locker room stood out on this field and formed this tunnel too at one point in their lives, and now here they are, get to run through it. So what a special night that is tonight for them as well, as we get ready here as the team looks like it's about ready to come out of the locker room, as I can see the cheerleaders are set up there waiting for them to bust through the banner. As the Middletown cheerleaders come out too, and
I would predict the Hawks are going to be led by the birthday boy, Charlie Kenrich, coming out of the tunnel. Happy birthday to that young man.
Yes, heard that he's looking forward to some special birthday tonight. So, Ken, looking back over the season here, the Hawks are coming in 1-1. And, their offense looks pretty good. They're putting up some good numbers. They've got 782 total yards so far in 2 games.
They moved the ball well against Moeller in their first game. We were excited to see that. They had some big plays. They had some nice bursts of speed. They had a nice pass up the middle, little 5-yard pass that the receiver ran for 82 yards. They had a couple good runs by Davis and Kathman. So they're explosive. They can definitely put some points on the board, and we're looking forward to seeing that again.
Absolutely. That was a good battle there against Moeller. Very balanced in the first half, and looking across the stats too with those 782 yards. it looks pretty balanced too. They've got 547 yards rushing, 235 yards passing. And like you said, that results into some points too. They've got 62 points total so far this year with 31 against. So that's a good balance there. I'd like to see that 31 a little bit lower for the defense. But the offense is definitely putting the ball in the end zone. And I think, we look back on 2 weeks ago, there are just some critical things that happened that stopped drives. Either one bad play that set them back, or they had a penalty at the wrong time that set them back and made them have to punt the ball and turn it over to the Crusaders, where their drives would have continued and moved on. So here comes Coach Haynes out of the locker room. The boys are behind him, lined up, arm in arm, getting ready to run through that tunnel here any second.
Charlie Kenrich and Austin Seerveld look to be the ones that could break the banner there. Seerveld from the law firm of Seerveld, Robinson, and Haberthier.
Absolutely. Those boys down in the trenches. Hopefully the law firm can push themselves around at will and raise up those offensive numbers, and I know those running backs will like it. Rabin and Kendricks will just love to be racing behind those big holes that those guys can blow open.
Still waiting for the Hawks to break through here. They're waiting for the signal from upstairs. Going to keep an eye on them and watch the smiling faces of our future Hawks down through that tunnel. Dave, East has to have ball control today. They need to go back to their basics and make sure they have the ball in their possession. They're going to look for their defense to make good plays today, but their offense, the triple option against Middletown, seems to work year after year. And as long as they can control the ball and not have turnovers, we should be looking at some positive plays by these Hawks.
Absolutely. We've talked a little bit about the offense. That defense sitting right there with Corona, Lett, and Hilbert there in the front line on the D. Charlie will most likely go both ways, as we've seen him before, running back and linebacker. Bouchette, Green, Freeman, and then some. You'll see Poppy in there going both ways, and Van Hoser too on the defense. So, they're doing their job too. Looks like they're holding the opponents to about 128 yards rushing per game and 171 yards passing. And that's where we saw the Crusaders take advantage of them, is some deep throws, over the middle, down the sidelines where the corners were one-on-one. So hopefully the Hawks were able to tighten that up. They went down to Milford and pushed them around pretty easily and held them to 0 down there. That definitely helps the defensive stats there. So hopefully tonight they can do the same thing against the Middies.
You see Middletown coming out here. They've got quarterback senior Kellen Davis, and he seems to be the show for them. He's 6'3", 230, and he runs the ball, he throws, he's got a big build. He's going to be a tough one to stop. He's definitely the one the Hawks have to watch.
Absolutely. We'll see what Middletown has in their back pocket. They haven't put the ball in the end zone too much. They had 7 points last week and 6 before, so not a lot of offense generated there. But you never know. That's why they flip the coin and blow the whistle and tip the ball and kick it off, right? So you never can take your guard down, and the Thunderhawks can't do that as they come strolling out from the locker room area as we get ready to get this thing kicked off. And as they're coming out, we'll just, give a shout-out to the post. I think it was 631 who presented the colors tonight. We appreciate that. And also just want to mention, as we get to enjoy a beautiful Friday Night Lights football game here of high school football, there's still a lot of people dealing with a lot of things out there through all the natural disasters and hurricanes and fires and flooding, and then, of course, all of our folks that are still out there in the military protecting us around the world. So we just want to shout out to them and know that this is a privilege for us to be up here in the booth announcing a game on a beautiful night like tonight. So here comes the Thunderhawks as the student section leads out with the East flags, and the Hawks come running through the center of the field and over to the sidelines.
We are ready for Friday Night Football. Dave, it may take a while to clear that field.
Yeah, there's quite a few people out there on the field tonight to get cleared off, but not the first rodeo of doing this here for Future Hawk Night, so this will move quickly, and the referees are already out there on the field, and Coach Haynes has got his headset on and getting ready to kick this thing off.
Not sure who won the toss there. I wasn't quite paying attention, but we will see who is set to kick and who is set to receive here. Again, your Hawks are 1-1. Coach Rick Haynes in his 11th season with the Thunderhawks, 60-54 record. 38th season overall coaching high school football.
Yeah, 38 years of coaching high school football is a long time. A lot of experience there. He loves to run this option, and we'll see what it has tonight as the Thunderhawks are getting ready on their sidelines, getting that last minute of warm-ups as the field clears here. And I'll mention too, on the other side of the ball there, there's a young man over on the Middies, Rona Casanova, who is second in the GMC in tackles. He's got 17 tackles, second in the GMC. So we'll keep an eye on that young man.
Yeah, he's a quick kid. He's big. Obviously, he's had a lot of opportunities to make tackles. Middletown not having too many plays on offense this year, but when you have the opportunity and you make the tackles, that shows you can get the job done.
So as that field clears off and the referees are at the 50-yard line, looks like Middletown is ready to receive.
Yep, see Trevor Hoffman with the ball there. Getting the ball cleaned off, ready to kick.
So the Hawks will be kicking from the north to the south.
J.C. Calhoun set to receive for the Middies. You've got J.C. Calhoun and J.J. Calhoun, senior twins. And the Hawks have senior twins as well, with Austin and Aiden Searveld, senior offensive lineman. And we'll see which set of twins can get the job done for their team.
Absolutely. So as we get ready to set the ball here for kickoff, a couple of these kids are still looking to play this game at the next level. As we know, Charlie Kindredge has already signed with Purdue and will be playing in the Big Ten. I think Caleb Van Hoser is looking at maybe Indiana State and a few others. And I think TJ has got some looks for some D2 schools. So that's always good to see these kids getting looks at the higher level, whether it's D1, D2, or D3. I know, as you do, a lot of the kids who have come through here already are right now playing D2 and D3 ball out there, a couple D1 players as well in the last couple of years. So good, rich history here for Lakota East, and giving these kids an opportunity, if they want to play on in their collegiate days.
Allows them to continue and stay in shape and get a brotherhood of men they can bond with early.
So Hoffman kicks it down to about the 5-yard line where the Middies will take it, trying to go wide left as he swallows that up and takes him down around the 14-yard line.
He was smothered there. He was doing a lot of east-west running instead of north-south.
So about a 9-yard return by number 3, Dillard.
Dillard, Middletown's main running back. He's a senior, 5'8", 175. See him get the bulk of the carries on running plays for Middletown. Kellen Davis, quarterback. He keeps the ball a bunch. He'll run. A lot of them are scrambles. But when they go up the middle, it's usually Jalen Dillard.
So Davis in the shotgun as he calls for the ball, but the ball doesn't move.
Take your pick on false start there. It's going to drop the Middies back 5 yards. Officials taking a long time to discuss that. Don't know if they were trying to choose who to assess the penalty to, because there were multiples on that.
There we go. Yep. Just about everybody moved but the center and the ball. So Davis sets back up in the shotgun. Now he's standing on his 5-yard line. And we got another whistle.
Hawks made an adjustment and looked like one of the middies crossed the line of scrimmage.
So that's another false start. So right now Middletown going the wrong way, and they haven't even snapped the ball yet. So now they'll go back to the 5-yard line, and Davis's heels will be on the goal line as they get set in motion. Dillard goes, and I see another whistle and flag.
Well, the good news, Dave, is they could only lose 3 yards on this instead of 5. Right before the snap.
Another false start. So that's 3 in a row. So
that one happened right before the snap.
Not a good start for the Middies down there, as they're just backing themselves up into the trench there. As now they start on the 3-yard line as Dillard goes in motion again. Now we get a clean play handoff, and that almost was at the goal line, but he broke the tackle.
I think that's going to be a gain of 0. Handoff went to, I don't know if that was Kendrick Bell that carried that ball.
I think Reisner almost had him in the end zone for a loss.
Got Lamont Chambers in the backfield now for Middletown.
As Davis takes the snap, he tries to throw one out to the right wing and nothing there, as the Hawks had that covered well by Rosario.
That's one thing the Hawks struggled with a little bit the first week we saw them, was covering the pass play. Granted, that was a shorter pass, but they had a little bit of trouble. I'm sure they made some adjustments here. But Middletown's got a 3rd and 23, and I don't think that's what they were expecting to have here in this first series.
Yeah, Davis was looking for Bell on that and just wasn't there, so now he's
Hawks
deep.
showing blitz, and I think they may be giving Middletown 5 of those yards back.
Encroachment on Ethan Evans there as he was faking or acting like he was going to blitz, but I think he got in that neutral zone, Ken, and drew the offensive lineman off. So
Evans
that's
and Bike Height were creeping up on the line and tried to time the snap, and they just didn't get the timing down on that.
So they'll give 5 back as the ball snapped back to Davis. He's looking, tries to run up through the middle, nothing there, and he gets swallowed up. See here on the replay as Davis gets the snap.
I think that was Jaden Palmore-Lett.
He looks deep, 89, falls off the block. There we go.
Palmore-Lett with a sack credited to him.
So Palmore-Lett makes the big play there, holds the Middies.
Hawks are going to get great field position here to start. Nick Rabin back to receive.
4th and 17, so the Middies are back to kick. As it skips in, and it gets blocked. And the loose ball down around the 6-yard line goes out of bounds as Rosario was trying to jump on that.
Looked like Reisner was the one that got a piece.
See if we got the... So Rosario actually got a piece of the ball.
Yep. Breaks through the line, gets right to the punter. Reisner
and
about to smother it, goes out of bounds, but Hawks take over on the 6-yard line.
Big block punt there by Nathan, getting in there. And you talked about good field position. Whoo! Yeah. You can't ask for more than 1st and goal from your 6 on your first series of downs here.
Yep, and we're going to have Kathman under center, Davis in the backfield, Kenrich.
So Kathman takes it, tries to hand that off to Davis, and I think that got a little mixed up in there, Ken, as I think TJ wanted Davis to go ahead and take that.
Yeah, the Hawks have some big up-front linemen. You've got Sierraveld, Habathier, Klute, and Robertson. And when the Hawks can run behind those big bodies, they're going to pound the ball against Middletown here. Unfortunately, that was a miscue, but I don't think they're too concerned. Try that again. Kathman under center. Coach Haynes may be a little more concerned than I am.
TJ hands that off to Eric Davis. He just follows through the line, and there you go. Takes it straight through for a touchdown, Thunderhawks.
What a block by Cam Habathier. Habathier just led him, and Davis was able to ride Habathier's back right into the end zone. Easy score for the Hawks.
Yeah, but I don't know that he got too much even touched. About the 1 yard line, he was looking around. So we'll set up for the point after.
Trevor Hoffman kicking. Nick Rabin, the holder. Harry Clute, the long snapper.
So Hoffman puts it up and in.
Here's that touchdown again. Watch Davis. Habathier. Oh, see, I gave Habathier credit for blocking, but there was no one to block. No offense, Cam, but I may take that good block back, but you let him right in the end zone. So.
And hats off to Eric. Did break a tackle there, big arm tackle there by the defensive lineman for the Middies, and walks it in.
6 yards to go, Dave. That makes it quite easy.
So 7-0 here with 9:45 in the first quarter, and Coach Haynes has to be happy with that.
Coach Haynes is happy, Dave. Our fans watching on live stream here have got to be happy. We thank them for watching. We love being able to bring these games live. Change of rules for the OHSAA that you can now broadcast live stream. So thanks to Westchester Cable for bringing these games via YouTube to our fan base. Ask them to like us on social media and continue spreading the word.
Absolutely.
So we can continue bringing these games.
Grab that link, share it, send it to friends, family, and anybody else out there in Hawk Nation. I know it's shot it out to a few of the kids who have graduated and those that are already back at college and school, able to watch their Thunderhawks here live tonight.
Ty Wilkerson's watching. He texted me, or his mom texted me earlier that he'll be watching. So Ty, glad you're watching via YouTube here.
So Hoffman kicks it down to the 2 yard line, and it barely just breaks the goal line, but it will be a touchback.
You know, Dave, the original broadcast idea was fans may not want to be in public with COVID, so that helps them. Grandparents from out of town. I know my parents would have loved to watch live. They did watch the midnight replay when it was able to be broadcast, but watching live via YouTube, different experience and more exciting.
Totally agree. If there's something positive that's come out of this COVID thing, it's these live broadcasts and many sports. I know we're doing this as well on my son's hockey team, and grandparents and aunts and uncles are being able to watch for the very first time that live out of town. So the Middies try to go up through the middle, and the Hawks clogged that up, and he bounced out to the left-hand side and didn't have anywhere else to go either. So looks like they're going to lose another 2 yards.
Yeah, good news, bad news on the play. They weren't flagged for a false start, but unfortunately they did not get positive yards as Kyle Poppy looked to be in on that tackle, making sure that the Middie running back did not cross the line of scrimmage.
It was a clean play, as you said, but for negative yards. So Davis is back there in the shotgun again. Got 3 wide receivers split. He's looking all around, gets the ball off over to number 3, and he's trying to make a move, and here comes the Hawks to wrap him up.
Yeah, Jalen Dillard with a good catch there. There was good blocking by Brock Sorrell on that. One of the Hawks was coming around the outside, and Sorrell protected his quarterback, Davis, nicely.
And number 3, Dillard there, cuts across the middle, finds some open space, and brings the ball down and gets a few yards after the catch.
Middletown quick to the line. Making some adjustments, but they're in somewhat hurry-up offense. I think they liked what they saw.
Davis controlling things back there, sending people around, makes a quick pass out to the flat. He breaks a tackle too and gets into the secondary, and they push him out of bounds around the 42-yard line.
Davis quick out to DeMarco Powell, and Powell's got enough for the first down.
So 2 positive plays there for the Middies all of a sudden as they settle down, stop jumping off sides, and now they're moving the ball. And so now that Hawk defense needs to settle in and start seeing things won't be as easy it was in that first set.
Quickly to the line, too. They don't want the Hawks to have the opportunity to make any adjustments here. Davis keeps it this time.
Number 25 trying to sneak around there as
J.C. Calhoun. Is he in a quarterback on that?
Yeah,
he
I
is
think
listed as their backup quarterback. So I
think
wonder
he
if
wildcatted that, Ken. Davis slid out on us, and it looked like 25 went into that wildcat position.
That does explain. We saw in the stats that Davis did have some receptions, but no one else had completions, and we were wondering. I wonder if they just credited the wrong
So
quarterback. So
J.C. Calhoun was back there. Now Davis is back in there. He hands off to J.C. He's trying to come around, and the Hawks are just swallowing that up as he tries to go wide right.
Kevin Cornell meets him right at the line and drives him backwards.
Get a replay of this as J.C. comes across. Davis just flips him the ball. He's got a lead blocker there at number 5, and the Hawks just shoot in behind there.
And Rosario and
whole mess of
Justin Green
Hawks.
was in on that.
Evans. So
going to
go deep, and he's got a man deep, and number 9 throws his hand up at the last second. Freeman, as the wide receiver, did get behind him, and the ball just ran out of air to get there.
Freeman staying, I don't know if he came from the safety position and rotated over, but good awareness and way to get the hand up to prevent the receiver from catching that ball.
Yeah, at the very last second there, Freeman, as we see him walking back upfield, gets a hand up. But Davis had that receiver there for a moment and just couldn't get the ball there fast enough, and the Hawks were able to recover. So that's going to force 4th and 15 for the Middies, and they're going to have to punt. As Nick Rabin's back to receive, this time the punt gets off. Very short punt as it's bouncing around their 42-yard line.
Hawks are going to start on their own side of the field this time, but barely, only by 8 yards. Another good start field position for them.
I think that was only about a 28-yard punt. A lot of air, but it didn't go very far.
Yeah, the thing to be careful on that one, Dave, is to make sure that as you're running down to make blocks, that the punt doesn't hit the ground and hit you in the back. As soon as it hits you in the back and you're running with your eyes off the ball, which happens a lot on short punts, that's a live ball, and Middletown could recover a muck punt that way. But
so we see TJ come hustling out, gets up underneath center, and he fakes that to Davis, flips it over to Charlie. Charlie's going to go down the left-hand side and get a good 13 yards out of that run.
Charlie Kenrich just a monster when he gets that ball out in front, gets the pitch, and he's able to gain 12 there. We're going to watch that again.
Thanks to Westchester there.
Little technical difficulties there. We won't get to see that, but take our word for it. That was a monster run by Charlie Kenrich.
As TJ gets back up underneath the center there. And gains just a few yards. Davis.
Hawks are going to be faced with a 2nd and 7 here. 6 minutes left in the first.
Stewie comes in to the tight end position. Relays the play into TJ. And that typical option offense as Nick goes in motion. Now he comes back off on a counter to Charlie, and Charlie reaches forward, and he might have enough for a first down there.
He's going to be close. He might be a half yard short maybe, bring up 3rd and 1.
Yep, I see.
Almost stretched it out. As you see him going down, you see him reach out with the ball.
Here you see Rabin go in motion. Davis fakes up the middle. Charlie comes off there and gets hit, drags 2 guys with him and reaches out there, but just not enough. But he's 3rd and I'd say less than a half a yard.
I would look for Davis or Kathman on this. Kathman may just keep it himself.
He does, just goes forward, gets about 2 yards, and that'll move the chains.
So first down Hawks, and we talked about this at the onset of the broadcast, that this is what the Hawks want to do. They want to have the ball in their hands, make sure Middletown doesn't have the ball. They can't score if they don't have the ball. Limit turnovers, and just move casually down the field.
Right, those long, sustained drives rushing the ball, using the option, and coming out with points at the end. So.
And why not when you have a big line like that who can dominate a game? There's Davis.
Absolutely.
Up the middle.
Davis is going to go down the center, and it's going to take the safety to grab his toes just at the last second there, or he was going for pay dirt.
Jeremy Alvarez from Middletown making a touchdown-saving tackle, but not before Davis gains.
You see Davis
15.
just blows through that line as the O-line creates a big hole, and the Middie just grabs some toes and saves a touchdown just inside the 15-yard line.
Hawks driving. Middletown has not had an answer for their run-off tackle, their counter, their option keep.
Charlie goes in motion. TJ hands it off to Davis again. He goes up the middle.
And 3 yards, 3 and 4 yards, that's what they want. Talked about this on several broadcasts that if you can get 3-4 yards on first of your 3 downs, you're going to get a first down. And you're just going to keep the ball, keep the clock moving. That's what they want to do here.
Poppy and Stewie come in. Yeah, that's a 4-yard pickup. And now they'll go wide with Poppy and Rabin on the left-hand side, and then going with the typical eye back. And now Kathman keeps it and goes off tackle.
Should be enough for a Hawks first down. Stop the clock temporarily until the ball is set, but watch TJ here.
Fakes that one to Eric and just keeps it. And TJ does his job of carrying a couple of middies with him as well.
And that's TJ's read. He hands it off to Davis. Davis has no say in whether he's going to get the ball or not. He's got to expect that he's going to get the ball. But when TJ pulls it out, Davis becomes a blocker. TJ can get an extra 3 yards there. So we got first and goal here. Clute under center. They're going to use their big line here.
Davis the lone back. Now Charlie comes in motion. There's a flip out to him. Oh, he hits a guy and just drives him backwards.
Good up front hit by Dalen Moore Simpson from Middletown, stopping Charlie initially.
We're going to get to see this one again as Kindrich comes in motion, grabs the ball. Had to look down for a second for that snap, but lowers his shoulder on 12, and he holds him up long enough for
J.J. Calhoun to make the tackle, the other Calhoun twin.
Get some help there to rustle Charlie down, because we've said in the past, too, in other broadcasts, he's not a kid that usually gets tackled by one person. We saw a couple of Moeller guys make some nice hits on him as Davis takes the ball again and just walks into the end zone. But typically, Charlie's dragging one kid, and it's taken 2 or the third one to pull him down.
So Davis is going to get his second touchdown of the game.
Following behind that big O-line, and there it is again. They're just pushing guys through the end zone, and Davis barely gets touched there for that second touchdown of the night.
Robertson and Sierraveld leading the way there. Dave, I hope you started Eric Davis in your high school fantasy league, because he's got 2 touchdowns here in the first quarter.
Yes. As Hoffman gets ready for the PAT, and that'll go up and through. So that's going to bring the count to 14-0 here still in the first quarter with 2:38 to go.
Definitely the start the Hawks wanted. 2 relatively easy scores. They had to work a little more on that one. They had a short field on their first score. And I need my sunglasses, Dave. Look at that shot of the student section.
Yeah, that's bright down there. So, yeah, like you said, not a lot of hard drive, but it was about a 57-yard drive that they pushed down through. Didn't really get into any bad situations, any third and longs, and able to walk the ball into the end zone and put 14 points on the board before the end of the first quarter. So
student section can celebrate, the band can celebrate. Dave, did I see a little Junior Royce there in the front row of the student section on that last shot?
Could have been. I've got one down there and another one running around somewhere else. So
Hawks going to trust their defense here again one more time in the first. Middletown going to get another possession here, their third possession of the game. First possession they struggled, having a few penalties, and then a punt that was partially blocked, giving the Hawks a short field. Second time, no penalties on the second drive, so that was a positive, but they really didn't move the ball forward at all.
Right. And so now the Hawks get lined up after that touchdown as Hoffman has the ball teed up. And he'll take his steps and walk them off as it looks like Calhoun and Dillard are back for the Middies.
Dave, you talked about alumni, and I watched the Bowling Green, Tennessee game last night, and I saw Avy McGarry make a tackle.
Yeah, I
in that game on special teams.
Saw a piece of that game too, along with the Buckeyes as they came back. As the ball goes down to inside the 5-yard line, and
ran into his own man.
Calhoun runs into his own player, and I think the ball came out there.
Yeah, scramble on the ground. Not sure who's pouncing on that.
Bean bags were throwing, so I think the ball's out.
Middletown Jalen Dillard came up with it, but the runner made a nice leap over a defender, but then ran into his own man. I'm going to watch this again. We'll see Calhoun field the ball, makes a good cut move right there, but his own guy, Lamont Chambers.
Yeah, runs into Chambers there, and the ball comes out, and the Hawks almost had it there. And then there was a fight in the pile here, and the Middies came out with it. So they'll take control on the 14-yard line. They just have not started in good field position yet tonight as Davis holds the ball, hands it off now up through the middle. And he's going to get a couple before the Hawks wrap him up around the 19-yard line.
Chambers, this time with the carry. So positive yards, Middletown. You know, they're obviously looking to improve each time. They have a thin sideline over there. Not many backup players. You know, it's a smaller roster than what we're used to seeing in the GMC.
Yep, probably a lot of kids going both ways as the snap comes back to Davis on a little floater. He's rolling out to the right. Ball gets tipped by number 11. Nathan Rosario knocks it down.
That's a good athletic play by Rosario there.
I see Laundry on the field, though, too. Here you saw the replay as Davis is rolling, throwing on the run.
Didn't see a hold. I don't know if he crossed the line of scrimmage there.
As you said, Nathan did get some hops there, and a great just athletic play by him.
We're going to get holding on Middletown. And that's going to push them back if the Hawks accepted that penalty.
It looks like they did. Instead of 3rd and probably 7, it's going to be 2nd and 17 as he takes the snap looking for a place to run, and there's not a whole lot there.
Now Davis kept the ball, and Caden Hibbard right there to greet him. Hibbard and Cornell on the tackle, bringing down Davis right after he caught the snap pretty much. So 3rd and long again for Middletown.
Like you said, Davis runs pretty big there at 6'3", 230 as a quarterback. Now he is a junior, which is promising for the Middies to have him come back next year as he's in the shotgun, asks for the ball. Hawks race 3. Looks like they're going to get to him. Oh, no, he breaks a tackle.
And Palmorlet brings him down from behind. Cornell again, Palmorlet and Harrison Buckeye did on that tackle.
So we're going to get to see it again here as the snap comes back. 89 gets the pressure quick.
Palmorlet, and then Hibbard gets a hand on him.
Hibbard is there to force him forward, and then the cavalry comes in and hauls him down, bringing up 4th and 14. And now the punter again in his end zone trying to look to get the ball off here.
Yeah, J.C. Calhoun this time gets it off clean.
And a quick kick, too, and it's going to take a bounce. Raven's going to scoop it up and try to take it down the sidelines. Found a little bit of room on the return, but I do see Laundry again as the flags come out.
Yeah, we got a flag right where he picked the ball up. I don't know if we had a blocker there that made an illegal block.
I think we're going to get a push in the back there.
So decent punt from Calhoun. Relatively speaking, he got the ball off there, still in Middletown territory, but we did have a block in the back, which is going to push the Hawks back 15 yards.
Yeah, Rosario scooped that up off the carpet and took it down inside the 40. I think he was right around the 35. So Nick had really wasn't much there, and he turned something out of nothing. But the penalty is going to push them back to their own 47-yard line. With just under a minute inside of 38 seconds now left in this first quarter.
So most likely be the last play of the quarter.
Kathman goes in motion. He hands off to Davis, but Middies shut that down and clogged that.
Yeah, Christian Printup in on the tackle.
Looks like the Thunderhawks were trying to go off the center there. Between the center and the guard, and the Middies were right there to meet him.
They're going to be happy just to let the quarter expire here. The ball will be moved 6 yards to the other side of the 50. And we will regroup here in the second quarter. So after one quarter of play, you got the Lakota East Thunderhawks 14, the Middletown Middies 0.
Welcome back to the Hawks Nest here at Lakota East High School. After one, the Hawks are up 14-0 on the Middies, and they got possession of the ball and going to be driving south to north now here at midfield. So East will keep it as TJ is out there with the offense. And it's 2nd down and 10 as the last play of the quarter was a run up the middle that the Middies shut down. So now the Thunderhawks will start off. There's a handoff, it looks like, to Davis as he goes forward. And he's going to get some positive yards now in this handoff. Here you'll see Eric come up. Just drags that tackler forward for an extra 3 yards. And picks up 5 on that carry.
Going to bring up 3rd and 5. This is one of the longer third downs that the Hawks have had.
TJ looking to throw for the first time tonight. Gets it over to the wing, and there's got some room. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10. That's going to be a touchdown, Thunderhawks. He finds Caleb Van Hoser out in the left flat, and he breaks a tackle and gets all the yak you can get between there and the goal line. As 7 tries to go for the ball, and Caleb turns the burners on, and he just walks right on into the end zone for a Thunderhawk touchdown.
Beautiful ball by Kathman. You don't see that a lot from the Hawks, but great to see that when they do, they execute. And Van Hooser was able to waltz into the end zone here after the catch. That's going to be the Hawks' 3rd score of the day.
So Hoffman puts the PAT up and through. And it's 21-0 early in the second quarter with 11:16.
I don't know, Dave, if it's going to get easier for Middletown here. Next week they have Mason, and then they travel to Sycamore, followed by Coleraine. This is a tough GMC for them to compete in.
GMC is getting better and better every year. We talked about this in the last broadcast when Muller Crusaders were in here and how tough the GCL is. Well, the GMC is getting just as tough with East and West and Coleraine, and you just don't get a lot of easy nights here. There's a young one, a really young future Hawk, enjoying themselves out here under the Friday night lights as the band plays the fight song after that touchdown throw by TJ Kathman to Caleb Van Hoser.
And she'll be dancing to that tune for the next 18 years.
If you don't know it now, you'll love it by then, right?
Booth, I'm told that we don't have sound on air.
So there you see the kicking team lining up. Get a chance to see some guys that are only on special teams there. As Hoffman steps it off. And the Middies are back deep. Again, looks like Dillard and Calhoun are back there as Calhoun takes it. And he looks left, nothing there, reverses fields, finds some green space. Now Hoffman's going to try to hold him up, and I think the kicker wrestled him down there.
Yeah, Hoffman and Nick Brady there drug him out of bounds, but a couple nifty moves by Calhoun there on the return.
Yeah, he started up on the left-hand side and then switched directions to the right-hand side and found all kind of green space over there. And it was just him and the kicker, and Hoffman does due diligence there, Trevor, and holds his own and wrestles him down.
So Middletown going to try again on their possession here. Quick handoff off right tackle.
As they start out with their best field position of the night.
And they are able to gain a few yards against the Hawks, getting 4 on that carry.
Yeah, starting off at the 34-yard line has been their best start of the night, and they, like you said, click 4 off right there on the first run. As Dillard comes in motion right at us now. Handoff gets stymied right in the middle.
Dave, I have to shout out to Ty Wilkerson again because he said that his sound was not working when I shouted out to him, so I do get credit. Talking about the alumni and how they love watching these games. We love seeing the fan base on YouTube. Thank you so much to Westchester Cable for allowing us to be in this booth and bring you this game. Beautiful night, beautiful Friday night, great weather.
Jake Reisner with the last tackle there. As the Davis goes back, gets flushed out, and now here comes the cavalry.
Gang tackled. Caden Hibberts leading the charge, as well as Harrison Buckite.
Corona in there early to flush him out of the backfield.
Palmore led in on the tackle as well. I could have just randomly picked a Hawk on that tackle.
Here you'll see the replay, Ken, and you see 58 just come flying around there and flushes him out. And Davis knew he had to start tuck it and run.
Going to bring up 4th and short for Middletown, and they are going to punt the ball being on their own side of the field.
So the snap comes back. He barely gets that one off.
Good punt.
As Rabin calls for a fair catch, but looked like he had plenty of green space there.
I think his leg warmed up there after the 4th punt of the day. It got progressively better, but Rabin, good decision not to bring that out. You're up 3 scores. You don't want to take the chance of catching and getting hit and the ball popping loose there. No need to.
Yeah, after, like you said, 2 short punts, I think Nick was cheating up a little bit there, so he had to backpedal a few to get up underneath that. So he waves the hand and takes the sure thing, and still not bad field position for the Hawks, starting off at the 25-yard line.
It's a good, smart play there, and you want that from your leadership. Rabin, senior.
As he stays in, flanked out wide to the right along with Poppy. Davis and Kendrick back in the eye as he hands off to Charlie. He looks over to the left-hand side, lowers his shoulder, and gets out to about the 30-yard line.
And we're going to see a heavy dose of Charlie on this possession, I believe. When the Hawks see a play they like, they're going to continue to go with it. No need for fancy, just be basic here. Poppy runs the play in.
There's Kendrick there. He's going to line up again behind Davis in the eye. Same formation as the previous play. as TJ now goes and flips it over to Charlie. He's got a head of steam. He's coming downfield. Ball's loose as TJ Kathman slides in. I don't know if his knee was already down, but
not quite sure it was. The ref did throw the beanbag out there, but Kathman, good job trailing the play. As the quarterback, sometimes you just release the ball and you watch your runner go, but that time Kathman trailing the play and does a good job falling on the ball to maintain possession for the Hawks. They do not want a turnover.
No, absolutely. As we saw there in the replay, TJ sliding in and grabbing that up. It looked like the tackler had drug him down and Charlie's knee had hit, but nonetheless, the Hawks will keep possession at the 40-yard line as he tosses it back out to Kenrich, and he'll get another 5 to 6 yards there.
Three straight carries by Kenrich, easy for you to say.
Yeah. And boy, when he's on the move like this, Ken, running downhill, what a load that kid can bring.
Yeah, he's tough to bring down. You know, he gets hit, but he also gives hits when he runs.
Yeah, that replay there showed where Middies made the initial contact and he was still able to dive forward for about 3 yards. So
I don't know if we need the lights on tonight, Dave. The student section could probably light the field up.
Yeah, that bright neon yellow, pink, orange down there. And there goes Davis through the middle as he gets to the secondary, and number 7 pops him there to save another touchdown.
Talk about a man on the mission here. As soon as Davis breaks through that line, look at him accelerate right here.
And I think Alvarez got lucky with him just switching feet there and the ball, and caught him a little off balance, because normally that high of a hit doesn't knock Eric down. He was going to be off for the races, but a great gain there. And it brings up first down now over in the Middies territory as TJ goes back and looks to throw the ball right down the middle. He's got Rabin wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown right down the middle.
That was
as
an impressive
TJ
play.
laid it beautifully.
We've got a flag in the backfield, unfortunately.
And we'll see here what the flag is as TJ drops back, just sets his feet, throws a nice ball, Ken, just right into Nick's bucket here.
Yeah, I think the flag is a late hit on the quarterback against Middletown.
And Rabin takes that in for a touchdown, as we'll hear what the call was. You got it.
Now, what a drive by the Hawks, Dave. That was impressive. You've got high formation. You go Kenrich 3 times in a row. Then you go Davis. So if you're Middletown's defense, obviously you're expecting either Kenrich or Davis on that play. Kathman drops back in the play action pass and just throws it right down the field to a wide open Nick Rabin.
Yeah, that was very pretty. Just short of a 40-yarder, and TJ just looked like he just flicked that thing down there. So Hoffman gets ready for the PAT as Nick scoops that up off the carpet there, as the snap was not the best, but he sets it and lets Hoffman take it up through the middle, and that'll bring it to 28-0 Thunderhawks. With 6:48 left, and plenty of time for the Middies to get the ball, do something with it, and still the Hawks to come back too before the half here. So we might see some more points before the halftime. Middies trying to get some type of mark on the board here as they huddle up there getting ready for the kickoff.
And Middletown's struggling a little bit, but Dave, the Hawks are being very fundamental. They're being extremely patient with the ball. Rick Haynes has to be extremely happy with the way they're playing. They're not making mistakes. They're keeping the ball. They're no turnovers, controlling the ball, good blocking up front.
Coach Haynes was peeking there at the iPad, I think, of the replay, seeing what the defense was there and how TJ laid that in. So.
And again, you're expecting with the I formation just runs up the middle, especially from this Hawks to have the scouting report. So when the Hawks can execute on a good pass play, they're hard to stop. Middletown's going to put all their linebackers up in the box and try and stop the run. And that's one-on-one coverage. And if you can suck the safety up to try and make a tackle, you're going to have an open receiver like they did.
Well, I'll tell you what, that almost 40-yarder is going to help those passing yards per game that they've been averaging right around 117. And when you can pop off almost a 40-yarder in one play, it's going to help that average quite a bit.
Well, you've got to have a good passer rating when you're 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns, both 40-plus yards. That's got to be the maximum QB rating.
Yes.
I don't know how that's calculated because somebody always does the calculation for me.
So the Hawks get the short field now because of the penalty on the quarterback, the roughing. So the Hawks are kicking off on the other side of the Middies 45.
They squibbed that or
and they did try to squib that and got a little greedy there to see if they could pick up an onside kick. But the Middies did swallow that up.
Yeah, I guess the thinking there is you try and bounce it a couple times, and if you kick it in the end zone, they're going to get the ball at the 20 anyways, so you might as well kick it and try and get a bounce off one of their up men. Because you really didn't. The trade-off was only 9 yards here.
Yeah, exactly. So, kicking from the 45, Hoffman's definitely going to put that in the end zone. And so you try to do something here and see if Middletown's paying attention and pick up the ball again and really put the lights out with a knockout punch before the half. So we have some kind of discussion down there with the referees.
I'm not quite sure what they're talking about here. They're going to go to the sideline and explain it to the coaches. And whatever it was, they kept the ball where it was originally placed, and we'll play ball from there.
Seems happy. The Middletown coach seems happy. So Middletown will get the ball on their own 31-yard line after all that and line up with Davis again in the shotgun. And he'll hand that off. Nope, he'll pull it back out and keep it himself as he was looking to hand that off to Chambers.
Yeah, good action there from Davis on that. Nice positive play for.
Yeah, they pick up almost 7 yards on that play on first down, and boy, that makes it really easy in your play selection at second and short. So here comes Calhoun back in motion, and Davis is looking off to the right-hand side and finds his man just at the sticks, and that'll be a first down for the Middies.
Kendrick Bell showing some good hands there. The pass was a little bit outside of him, but he was able to outstretch his arms and get 1 foot in bounds, enough for the first down. He knew where the sticks was.
Yeah, I didn't hear pass being yelled. It looked like Davis sold that as a pass the whole way. Didn't really hear a lot from the sidelines or the boys out there. But then nonetheless, he gets it off and converts that 3-yard pass for a first down. Now he hands it off to Chambers as he gets a gang tackle by the East.
8 different Hawks in on that tackle.
And I'll tell you, Nathan Rosario's fired up tonight. Boy, he's coming out of the pack, pumping fist and swinging, and he's been all over the field so far. Had that block punt. And, Nathan had a good game against the Crusaders, too. We called his name quite a bit.
Yeah, Nate, one of the captains, along with Kenrich, Kathman, and Van Hooser. Great leadership, and definitely came to play tonight.
Davis trying to get that hard count as he throws another one out into the flat. As looks like Middletown's finding a little something there on that right-hand side where they can do a quick 2, 3, 4-yard pass, as we're going to see here on the replay.
And Middletown definitely in a little groove here. Dave, their first possession, they had 3 straight false start penalties, and they have not had one since. Second drive, they didn't go anywhere on offense. They're starting to move the ball a little bit. So
yeah, Davis rolls out right there.
Up and just playing football.
Fires it right in the belly, makes positive yards, so brings up 3rd and short as he's in the backfield all by himself as the defense comes right in and puts pressure on him. And woo, he gets it off. And number 8 just missed a humongous collision over there by Caleb Van Hoser.
And Kendrick Bell heard Van Hooser coming.
There's the D-line getting in there quick, and you see, he bobbled it, and wow.
What a hit by Caleb.
Probably a good thing he bobbled and had to adjust, or Caleb, I think, had him in his crosshairs.
I think he still bobbles that if he catches it.
So now we get a handoff up the middle.
Lamont Chambers with the carry.
And looks like Hibbert was in there on the tackle for the Hawks.
A gain of a couple. They're going to give him 2 or 3 on that. But again, positive plays for the Middletown Middies. Going right behind that line. See, their center there, Taylor Cotton, 375.
Yeah,
senior.
he's not weighing in on the thin side. He's a good big boy, and I think he just
He flinched on that.
flinched on the snap there.
Sorry to the Middie fans there for jinxing them on the lack of false start in a while, but that is going to push them back 5 yards.
So Taylor definitely is a load there in the middle to move around for the nose tackle, but a little anxious there and flinches the ball and gets a false start, and they'll come back 5 more yards. So now second and long as Davis throws it off to the right-hand side. Little high there for
Kendrick Bell. He's going after his favorite target there. Bell seems to be the man he's targeting today.
Yes, Bell had to try to hop up there, but it was a little too high.
Definitely
above his reach.
Tall target there. He stands at 6'3".
Yeah, so
that ball was about 6'7".
Yeah, that one came out a little hot. And as we've said, Davis is he runs 6'3", so you would think that'd be an easy pitch and catch, but came out a little hot. But like we said, the Hawks have been putting a lot of pressure. The D-line's getting in there. Looks like here comes a blitz as Davis steps up through that and throws it out here and little short.
Tried for Calhoun.
Calhoun out here along the Hawks sideline is looks like Benny Powell was given the coverage for the Hawks. That's going to bring up 4th and 12.
Calhoun will be in for his 6th punt of the game.
So the Middies back in punt formation. Did cross over, though, midfield. So that's positive for them. They did make it over midfield as the punt comes high and short as Nick will fair catch that one. And I think the Hawks are going to start deeper than they have so far tonight at around the 15-yard line. So the Middies were able to at least flip the field there as they get a little drive, get just across midfield, and now with his 6th punt, as you said, legs warming up. He's getting a little more distance each time and puts the ball down right on the 15-yard line where the Thunderhawks will start that offense up.
Yeah, Hawks have been progressively starting their field of line of possession progressively but further and further. They started at the 6 and then the 48 and then on their side of the field 46, and now they have their work cut out with them on the 15-yard line.
So 3:30 left with 3 timeouts. Plenty of time for the Hawks to strike here or at least get a field goal as TJ stands in there under the center and looks the handoff. Looks like he did stick it into Davis's belly.
Yeah, nowhere to go for Davis on that. Middletown smothered that play.
Yeah, the Middies were waiting for that one.
Good shot of the law firm there of Sierraveld Haberthier. Dave, did I hear there's going to be shirts coming out with?
There's a rumor about that, that these guys might be starting a little side gig here. As those boys line up, and they just been doing a great job out there in the trenches.
That's an unsung hero there when, you don't carry the ball, but they do a ton of work.
Nice flip to Charlie. He's got some blockers and some green, and he comes out to the Hawks sideline up to about the 25-yard line. And
just short of the first down. He's going to get 9 on that.
So here we'll see TJ take the ball, fake it to Davis, flip it out to Kenrich as he breaks the first tackle and just runs out of some real estate over there.
So 3rd and 1. Last time we had 3rd and short. Kathman kept it off left center in the A gap by himself. We'll see if he does that again.
He just goes forward over the guard and picks up that first down.
Yeah, you don't need to be fancy here, Dave. You can just snap the ball and dive forward, and fresh set of downs.
Fresh set of downs. Chains move. The clock stops momentarily as it looks like they wound that pretty quick as the chain gang was still moving over there as TJ gets right back up to the line of scrimmage. Like I said, they still have 3 timeouts. I'd like to see Coach not take those into the locker room with him as Davis grabs one in the flat, and he grabs a block by his big tight end, Stowe, and he's going to run down the sidelines, and it looks like the Middies are going to get another last-second push to get him out of bounds.
Eric Davis coming right out of the backfield. Kathman just flips it. I was about to say that could be Kathman's first non-touchdown pass, but almost gets a touchdown on a little 5-yard flick. You see Davis there, good hands.
Yeah, breaks a tackle.
On his feet. Good downfield blocking by Robinson.
Oh, I think they're going to call that a hit by Kenrich, which looked really clean in the replay. If we can pick that up again, downfield, as Stowe the tight end gave a big block for Davis to break him free, and Charlie follows the play. And
I didn't see the flag, but
the flag came out. Maybe they're going to wave it off. Look,
Charlie's
targeting
foul.
Totally disagree with that. If we can see that again.
I don't know if he led with his head.
Nah, it looks like his hands are there. We're going to see it here as Davis gets the ball in the flat here, breaks this tackle. You're going to see Stowe throw a big tackle here coming up right there. I mean, a big block right there. It breaks him loose. Now watch number 9. There's Charlie 5. His hands lead. I don't know how you can call that targeting, but that's the call nonetheless.
Now that was after the play, or during the play after the first down. So
comes
Hawks
back,
are going to get the first down.
TJ looking for some receivers downfield, and the Hawks only had 1, and the Middies had 3 defensive backs down there on him. So TJ scrambles out, barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. So
yeah,
it looked uglier than what it was, because he caught the young man unsuspecting, but that replay surely shows clearly that TJ's hands are out front.
Nonetheless, Hawks have the ball, 2nd and 11, just short of the 50. Still trying to move the ball.
So they still got the ball,
score.
minute left. There's a pitch. Now Charlie's going to throw, and he's got Poppy. If he can get there, just got a little
strong by Kenrich.
Kendricks just gets a little too much in it, as Poppy was streaking down the side wide open, as all the Middies bit on the run to Charlie.
You see that a lot in JV games, Dave. You don't see that too many times in varsity games. Coach Jared Haynes, Rick Haynes' son, when he coached JV, ran that play, the first play of the game, every single game that the JV teams played under Jared Haynes, they ran that. And tried to catch the Middies off guard. Charlie a little too strong here.
Yeah, Charlie wears those gloves too, so that can't be easy to be thrown with that glove on your throwing hand. Might have affected him a little bit, but threw a nice ball down there. Poppy just couldn't catch up to it. He was definitely wide open as Kathman comes forward, and looks like he's going to pick up the first down.
Great, powerful run, TJ Kathman. He gets hit 3 times on that run.
And looks like East is going to take a timeout.
Just short. They're marking it about a 1/4 of an inch short.
Wow, that's a rough spot too. Must have been the old left foot versus the right foot.
Chain gang's moving now. Nope, they are going to give him a first down on that. You know, Hawks are trying to get one more score in this half. 30 is the magic number in high school football. If one team gets a lead of 30 or more, it becomes a running clock. Clock does not stop on incompletions or out of bounds. The clock continues to run. It only stops on change of possession. So the Hawks want to know that going into the half, whether they're going to have a 30-point lead or not. It doesn't change the way you play, but it definitely prepares you for different personnel you might want to use to get some experience, some of the younger guys, getting them in.
And now with TJ's carry there, taking them into Middie territory over midfield here, you know, might be 20 or so yards, 25 yards, and might be in Hoffman's range as TJ throws one down the left-hand side. And
we're going to get interference on that.
I think they're going to get past interference, but did he catch that too? That was Caleb Van Hoser over there. He tried to jump over top of the defender.
Yeah, nice route down the sideline. Good ball by Kathman. Let's see. I don't think he winds up with the ball. But Kathman, as he drops back there, loads of time.
Yeah, just pass play all the way, which I love to see. And, yep, it did come out.
And he got hit there by Dalen Moore Simpson. who wasn't going after the ball. He was just looking at the receiver there, head down, and that's a good interference call.
Yeah, Caleb definitely got behind him on that play, and TJ threw it out there just a shade short.
So pass interference of the 10-yard variety. They did not give him point of.
So TJ goes back. There's another pass play all the way. He zings it down. That time he finds Poppy on the right-hand side, and he throws a strike right into that number 4 on his chest.
Beautiful ball by Kathman. Great looking it in by Poppy.
So Kyle gets a second chance after the trick play with Kenrich, and he definitely had the defender beat by a good 5-6 yards here. As Hoffman lines up for the PAT, you see TJ there walking up the sidelines, and another one through the middle. And as you said, that's going to bring it to 35-0 with 30 seconds left. And like you said, that'll change the complexity in the second half.
Yeah, the running clock won't start here on this possession. It does start in the second half. So the Middletown Middies will have 2 plays if they choose to. They may only choose to snap the ball once and go in the locker room and regroup. They need to figure something out, how to stop this Hawks offense. But what an impressive offense by the Lakota East Thunderhawks. Putting up
2 straight
5 scores, 3 passing touchdowns.
Right, and just back-to-back passing plays out of the option offense you normally don't see, and TJ throws 2 good balls there, and
we're gonna have to dig
second
into
one pays off.
We'll have to dig into the statistical archives to see when the last time the Hawks had 3 passing touchdowns. I know it hasn't been in the last 5 years. I know a couple times they had 2 during the playoff season of 2018-19.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they had a 3 touchdown pass game. We'll have to get our crack statisticians on that research. Sounds like a good research project.
So the special teams is lining up there, the kickoff team, as they break the huddle, and Hoffman gets the walk off. Again, looks like Dillard and Calhoun are back.
J.C. Calhoun's been a busy man there on that offense. He's run the ball, he's thrown a pass, he's returned kicks, he's the punter.
Calhoun takes it around the 5-yard line, makes a move, finds a little bit of green, and then gets up to about the 25-yard line where the Hawks rustle him down.
22 seconds left, Dave. I don't know if I expect too much out of Middletown. They're not necessarily looking to score here, but they're looking to have some more positive energy. They want to go in the locker room with a little momentum.
Right.
They may be happy taking a knee here and just going in. I don't think their fan base will be too happy with that, but a lot of coaches don't want to take any chances here on potential fumble. But they are going to line up and run a play here, it looks like. Davis in shotgun formation.
Shotgun with trips left and one high on the right-hand side, so 4 wide receivers split out here.
Chambers with him in the backfield.
East definitely back with 4 DBs off the 10 yards off the line of scrimmage as he fakes the handoff and takes it up the middle.
Let's see if Middletown uses a timeout here, or they're just going to let the clock expire.
Looks like they're going to take all 3 of their timeouts into the locker room with them. And
impressive first half of football by the East Thunderhawks.
Absolutely, as the clock runs down here at the end of the first half, we've got the Lakota East Thunderhawks 35 and the Middletown Middies 0.
Hi, I'm Justin Eckstein with Westchester Township TV. In partnership with Lakota Schools and Westchester Township, we are now going to be live streaming select games, and we're super excited about it. Feel free to follow us on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and you'll be able to see the links to live stream those games. Also follow us on our YouTube channel. And if you would actually like to come out and work with us and volunteer, we have opportunities for that, and you can find that on our website as well, westchesteroh.org. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lakota East High School, home of the Thunderhawks. As we get ready to start the second half here, the Lakota East Thunderhawks are up 35-0 over the Middletown Middies here on a beautiful Friday night in the Hawks' Nest on Future Hawk Night, Ken, and what an offensive feast it's been so far for the Thunderhawks.
Yeah, Dave, Hawks have dominated offensively. 2 rushing touchdowns by Eric Davis early in the first quarter, and 3 touchdown passes from TJ Kathman. 1 to Caleb Van Hooser, 1 to Kyle Poppy, and Nick Rabin.
Yes, Nick Rabin caught one long pass there. I think that was TJ's longest. That is registered right around the 48, 49 yard length. And that gave TJ 166 yards for the half in passing, well above his normal average, and definitely going to help him boost in the passing yard leaders here in the GMC, where he was at 235 total yards in 2 games and 166 already in that first half. So Middletown kicks off to East as that's their first kickoff of the day, down to the 10-yard line, as it looks like Van Heusen has it. East finds some green space. He's going to go down the left-hand hash. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10. It's going to be a touchdown on the opening kickoff of the half for the Thunderhawks, and that's got to be a gut punch right to the Middletown Middies coming out of the locker room there.
And Dave, Middletown goes in knowing they're down 35-0, knowing they're looking at a running clock second half. And wow, what a run.
There he picks the ball up about the 10-yard line, gets some great blocks, got Rabin there as the kicker didn't want to have anything to do with that. And
Van Hooser, great run. East getting a sideline warning there, and can you blame them, Dave? They're up 42-0.
42-0 after a 90-yard kick return by Caleb Van Heuser, and Caleb just dances straight down through there with a couple of key blocks, had Nick Rabin out in front of him, and the kicker just stepped aside and said, no, you're not going to knock me 10 feet back, and opened the gate, and Caleb took it the rest of the way for a touchdown.
So you got the running game working well, you got the passing game working well, and why not throw in a special teams touchdown while you're at it?
Absolutely. That balances out the stat sheet for sure, after the Hawks had about 129 yards in that first half rushing, with those 166 yards we mentioned by TJ. So now the Hawks see an offense from all sides of the ball, special teams, and that's just got to tickle the special teams coach as they work on things like that constantly, in and out, a lot of work, not a lot of glory on special teams sometimes. And so tonight you have a block punt. Starts East off with great field position from their own 6-yard line to kick things off at the opener. And now here starting the second half, you have a 90-yard run back.
So, Dave, here's your scoreboard stumper for the day. We talked about the last time East had 3 passing touchdowns. Any guesses on how far back in the archives we have to go there?
I'd say quite a few years, more than 5.
Sean Church didn't do it. Dylan Fry didn't do it. TJ Jemison didn't do it. Have to go back to the days of Eric Eichler, November 3rd, 2012, in an overtime victory against Springboro. East won 45-38. And had 3 touchdown passes in that game from Eichler.
That's a good find there, Ken, going back to the 2012 season to find 3 passing touchdowns, which, as we know, when you run the option, you don't throw the ball that much. And this year with TJ, Rant took most of the snaps last year. Kid's got an arm for sure, and he can run, so that opens the playbook big time for Coach Haynes and the coaching staff.
Yeah, you want to pick and choose when you do it. The touchdown I was most impressed when they were in the I formation. 3 straight Kenrich runs, and then 2 Davis runs, and then the pass by Kathman on
Hoffman takes it down to about the 6-yard line And looks like that was number 25.
J.C. Calhoun.
J.C. Calhoun with the return until he got blown up right around the 15-yard line.
You know, the Hawks up 6 scores. They don't want to show up Middletown. They are a conference opponent, so I expect them to just run up the middle. I expect to see some other players come into the game soon. I imagine we'll see some backups at the start of the fourth quarter, but Middletown's got to get out of this third quarter alive.
Yeah, it looked like his own man ran into him again there with some help from the East, but that's twice tonight where the kick returner ran into his own man. So the Middies start off on their 14-yard line. They've had their back against the goal all night long. Not any decent field position to start, and they don't start the second half any better at the 14-yard line with a run off to the right-hand side.
Yeah, they start off with Kellen Davis handing off to Lamont Chambers. And Chambers hasn't quite found that big run yet. He had a 6-yard run earlier, I believe, in the first half, but hasn't done too much there.
Yeah, it shows he's got about 10 or 12 total yards.
Yep, 4-yard gain was his long.
Davis goes back, throws a big one down the right-hand side, and there's almost picked off as the coverage was right there by the Thunderhawks.
Freeman again. Cam Freeman playing good secondary coverage today.
Freeman definitely watched some tape, learned after that Muller Crusader game where he got burned a few times deep. And that one he was stride for stride with the Middie receiver and almost had a chance to pick that off.
It's good to see their secondary making plays here.
And that's where the game got kind of loose against Moeller, where they were in the game and a couple of big strikes deep where guys got behind the DBs, and now Davis throws one out over there to the left side flat, and the Hawks gang tackling him over there.
Nathan Rosario.
Yeah, I think that's Nathan Rosario. He's had a few tackles tonight. We've called his number again quite a bit. And he's still coming out of those piles fired up.
A clock stoppage here for the refs to consult one another on something.
So Nathan hasn't toned it down at all coming out of the locker room, starting in this second half.
Now, I don't want to jinx him, Dave. I don't want to be the cause of this, but Hawks in the last 2 games have outscored their opponents 77-0.
Wow. It's impressive. Got Jalen Ashford coming over to the sideline, big number 81 defensive lineman for the Hawks. As this discussion goes on, I think he was coming over to relay something to the coach. And
So Rosario getting called for an unsportsmanlike.
Didn't see it. I mean, he jumped out of the pile there, kind of fired up. I think he was
And Middletown with the...
So offsetting?
Yeah. Apparently.
So that should bring up 4th and 4.
A little frustration on both teams there. Rosario fired up after a big hit.
Yeah.
And I think the Middletown player must have taken exception to the celebration there and said something back. But a couple back and forths. Nonetheless, it looks like it's going to be 4th and 4 for Middletown. And the leg of Calhoun, which we've seen a few times tonight, is going to get another chance.
He's definitely had his workout back there. This young man has gone offense, defense, kick returns, punting. He's all over the place, and he's had his work cut out tonight punting the ball, as comes up with a short one that takes a big bounce. And as you said earlier, those are the dangerous ones that can touch somebody, as Rosario was trying to tell his teammates to look out.
Yeah, you need to wave and direct some traffic there because they're running downfield trying to find someone to block. They don't necessarily know that the kick is behind them. So communication is going to be key there. And a couple of the Hawks, Van Hooser on the sideline there, jumping around and talking to some teammates there, I think, calming them down.
Yep.
They must be ecstatic about the defense they played there.
So the Hawk defense holds forces the punt, and the Thunderhawks will take over on the 47-yard line. So still got the starters in there. I see Kathman in there, hands off to Rabin. Rabin goes off the right-hand side. He finds a big hole. He's going to sprint down the center, and he's going to go for 6. Touchdown, Rabin, as the O-line blast a big hole. Here we'll see, Ken, where Nick comes around. There's that big hole. He could have driven a truck through there, and he just starts sprinting down the middle. He can't find anybody to get near him until he hits to the goal line, and touchdown for Rabin. 47-yard scamper for 6.
A couple different linemen in there looked like, but Harry Clute was the main blocker on that from his center position. Beautiful block.
As Hoffman comes in with the PAT.
And I don't know how much more we'll see of that Hawks first offense. Typically, Coach Haynes does play them through the end of the third quarter, but you don't want to see anyone get hurt, and you obviously don't want to show up this Middletown team. But
right, it'll be interesting to see what he does, and maybe some key positions. Maybe not the whole offense comes out, but maybe a key position or two. Because now you know that the Middletown Middies are getting frustrated. 49-0. You don't want to see anything.
They have
happen.
to be exhausted, Dave. I mean, a lot of those big guys are playing both ways. They have a limited roster. Just sheer numbers of kids that don't necessarily want to play football.
Right.
You know, it's hard work. They lift every day. They attend practices, study tables, and it's hard. It's a big commitment, and Middletown just hasn't had the numbers over the last few years. But give them props for being out here and competing to the best of their ability.
And they definitely haven't given up, that's for sure. The attitude has been there, as we mentioned, just on that punt. That J.C. Calhoun he's on the offense, he's on the receiving team. He's back there right now with Dillard for the kick return. He's punting, and most of those punts have been quick because East has been blowing through the line, putting pressure on him after the very first punt that was blocked. They're still coming, so he's working hard and standing back on his own 10-yard line, getting ready to return another as the Lakota East kicking team sets up.
Really shocked that we haven't seen a little more of Jalen Dillard. We talked about him right at the onset of the broadcast, that he was their main running back in terms of statistical carries, but he hasn't had too many touches yet. And there's Hoffman, and that ball's going to...
Yeah, the Hawks try to squib one down, hoping it would get scooped up, and it just took a little kick to the left as the egg rolls out of bounds.
So Middletown's going to get the ball on the 35-yard line. You know, talk about penalties, Dave. In the first half, Middletown got dinged for 7 penalties, 58 yards. Of course, 3 of them came in their first 3 snaps.
Absolutely.
East had 3 penalties for 30 yards.
So not too bad for the Hawks, but like you said, they just started out really rough there for the Middies.
And no
3
turnovers.
straight penalties.
No turnovers in this game.
No.
We had a fumble of Kenrich, but Kathman scooped the ball and got a Hawk down on the field there, being attended to by East training staff. Hope that young man's okay. Couldn't quite tell who it was.
Looks like we got a cramp maybe, or looks like they're working on his leg, so.
So Van Hooser?
Can't tell.
Well, it looks like Caleb Van Hooser. Athletic Director Rich Bryant's going to give him CPR via shoe there.
He foot to CPR.
Oop,
so he
that
must
isn't
be
Van Hooser.
He must be doing fine as the maybe just cramping up a little bit.
Noah Troutman maybe?
As the Middletown Middies there are huddling up, hydrating, and some of those future Hawks that's set up for the tunnel down there, throwing the ball around. So looks like that was
Draven Files. So Draven, we hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Looks like walking off on his own power there. How do you get field passes like that, Dave? How do you get
I'm telling you
to toss the ball there and be right on the sideline? You got to know somebody.
Yeah, those are good field passes for those future Hawks, getting a good glimpse, seeing a great game tonight. Got to be fun down there in front of the student section. That's all nice and bright. As Davis is still back there, he fakes the handoff and looks to find something up the middle, but doesn't get too much before the Hawks wrap him up.
A couple different Hawks on defense there. Looks like Stave Embry in the game, number 14, junior, and I couldn't tell who else was in on that tackle. I'm going to have to get my
Nick Brady in at defensive back.
have to get our roster sheet out here. Some of the
Definitely.
Speaking of future Hawks, some of the younger juniors and sophomores coming in.
Definitely changing up some personnel on the defensive side as the Middies throw out on a short screen and picks up a couple of yards there.
Got Calhoun with a nice catch from Davis and pushed out of bounds by Harrison Buckite.
Looks like we see Brent Taylor in there on defense. Here we see the replay. Just quick throw out to the flat. Gets by one tackler and then gets shoved out of bounds as 13's riding somebody there for a couple of yards out of bounds.
DeBron Benny Powell in on defense, also a sophomore. We saw him with a couple carries 2 weeks ago. Davis on the keeper.
So on 3rd and 3, Davis is looking to get the first down, and
he's met by Buckite, and Buckite's going to say, not this time.
So a few starters in there. Mostly it looks like the second squad has stepped in for the Hawks, up 49-0.
See senior lineman Jalen Ashford in on that play. And Calhoun in to punt. Well, they're going for it. Going for it on 4th and short.
4th and short. Davis hands it off, finds a little crease. And there's Dillard, or was that Chambers?
Yep, Lamont Chambers, good hard run up the middle for the first down.
So we'll see here, Ken. Davis is back there in the shotgun, been there all night, hands it off to Chambers. Finds that nice little crease right there that just breaks him loose just enough. And he gets about 4 or 5 yards, which was enough for the first down.
Good looking tackle by L.J. Robinson for the Hawks.
So that brings the Middies just short of midfield, which they've only been over once, I think, in the game. And now Davis looks for some space through the middle as he has 3 wide receivers go out, but the Hawks had that well covered.
Yeah, well covered, and Davis makes a good decision here, tuck the ball and run. You don't want to force a turnover, and with that big body, 6'3", 230.
Yep.
Junior, good decision making there to tuck the ball and plow ahead for 6 yards, 7 or 8 yards. They'll give him.
Looks like L.J. Robinson is in there too on defense for the Hawks. So trying to catch all these second team guys in there as Chambers tries to go back through the middle.
Good defense by the Hawk linebackers. Harrison Buckite again. Middle linebacker just steaming right into the running back, and Chambers looks slow to get up.
Ethan Evans in there too at the linebacker position.
Dave, we've mentioned this a few times. We want to thank our viewership here on
Absolutely.
Westchester Cable, streaming live on YouTube. Able to bring the game live this year due to OHSAA changes, and glad to have everyone watching. Encourage you to share a link with friends and let friends and family know that we're on the air. We'll be on air next week as well against Hamilton.
Live here. This is not taped. You guys are seeing it live here from the Hawks Nest as the Middletown Middies are trying to find their way to get on the scoreboard as Davis does another keeper. And he's going to scamper just to get enough for a first down.
Yeah, eventually wrestled to the ground by one of the Hawk linebackers in there. Can't quite tell who this is until he turns around, but good run by Davis.
Davis will take it down to the 29-yard line where they'll start 1st and 10.
Ethan Evans brought him to the ground.
As he hands that off to number 3, Dillard. And Dillard goes down to the left-hand side and gets a pretty good gain out of that.
So I know if Middletown scores here, it's because we jinxed them on the back-to-back shutout opportunities. But, good to see Middletown getting some positive plays there.
This drive, they really have changed it up a little bit, right? They've run right. They've gone up the middle. They had a keeper there. They run that sweep to the left, and now Davis drops back looking the pass as he's looking over here in the right-hand corner, throws it deep.
Nice catch.
And
he's in.
They're going to call it a touchdown in the back right-hand corner of the end zone.
Kendrick Bell, 6'3" target. Last time he overthrew him, and this time.
So this is just a straight-up pass, Ken. Davis goes back. He looks that his primary receiver was covered and finds Davis back there. And
needs 1 foot in.
That's all you need in high school. And
not sure if he toe tapped or not, but there is no replay, and we'll give it to him.
The referee on the back line said he got it in, so that'll give Middletown 6 here as they line up for the PAT and hits looks like the camera crew tower there and kicks back. But
a good score for Middletown, Dave. That's what high school football is about. You don't want to pound anyone into the ground. This isn't the pros. This isn't college where you're going after rankings. This is high school football. So to allow Middletown to get down the field gives the Hawk second defense, third defense a chance to get some reps there. They'll be on film tomorrow. They'll get to see what they did right, what they did wrong. But East Hawks still dominating here.
Yeah, and I like the score. Gives
unsportsmanlike against Middletown, maybe? Oh, both.
On both.
Another offsetting?
Offsetting.
Feeling a little chippy there.
So yeah, I was going to say, it gives East, keeps them a little bit honest. The second crew out there, as they just got scored on. So the next series of downs, be looking for those passes and those long sweeps, and like you said, that gives them a chance to see something, practice, and look at some film tomorrow and see what they did or didn't do.
Cheerleaders always doing a great job, Dave, pepping the student section up, and even after a Middletown score, always positive. Those cheerleaders work very hard. I had a daughter cheerleader that graduated 2 years ago, Dave, and they're out there practicing as much as the boys are on the field.
So Zach Johnson had his first chance to have a PAT, and now he's going to get his opportunity for a kickoff.
Cam Freeman back to return for the Hawks, and it's a short punt. Fielded up front. They're not going to give Rabin a chance to return that a second time. That time Ethan Evans scooped it up.
There's number 30 right there. Here comes the replay. There's a short kick.
See Evans scoop it up and run off to the
30.
right-hand side. Good open field tackle by Michael Dorn, backup quarterback. So Hawks offense coming out on the field again. Kathman still in there. We've got Tabron, Benny Powell in the backfield along with Eric Davis. I formation for the Hawks. Kathman hands it up the middle to Davis. Davis scampers ahead for 5. And let's see what kind of line we have there. Looks like maybe still the law firm in the game.
As looks like Davis is coming out.
Well, got a couple new linemen there. 62. I don't have a 62 on my roster. 52, Tyler Peoples.
So kind of surprised Davis was even in on that play there. Looks like they did bring in Troutman for TJ as he fakes the handoff and throws it out to
Benny Powell. Tabron Benny Powell with the run.
Yeah, Benny Powell with the run there.
Well, I'm going to need a new piece of paper here, Dave, with all these changes with the Hawks.
Absolutely. So we'll see the replay here as Troutman now in at QB. Fakes the handoff and flips it out to Benny.
Aiden Troutman Jr., backup quarterback.
So Benny Powell in there for Davis, and see a lot of new numbers in there. Looks like the center stayed.
Yeah, Klute's still in there. Robertson's still in there.
Stewie is still in there at tight end, but a couple of new O-line, a couple of new running backs as he hands that off again to Benny Powell.
Tavon Benny Powell shows a lot of promise, Dave. He's a sophomore, plays running back and defensive back. We saw him run in the Moeller game. He's got some quickness. He doesn't have the same build that a lot of the East fullbacks do, but he's got a lot of quickness.
So that'll bring it to the end of the third quarter, where the Hawks are up 49-7 over the Middletown Middies. Welcome back to Lakota East High School, where the Thunderhawks are up 49-7 over the Middletown Middies here on a nice brisk now Friday night, Ken. And we've just seen all kinds of offense by the Hawks, and here just midway through the third quarter on a running clock with the second string defense in, the Middies were able to finally successfully push the ball into the end zone.
Yeah, Dave, it's been a very explosive Hawk offense. Fitting tonight as there are fireworks after the game for the future Hawk Nights. So the Hawks have had some fireworks on offense. We're going to see some fireworks in about 20 minutes here after the game. But Hawks, everything running on all cylinders, as they say.
Yeah, so now Coach Haynes has put the pretty much the most of the second string offense in as Troutman goes back, and now the ball's loose and everybody's kicking it. And I think finally the Hawks may have picked it up, as Troutman was trying to flip the ball as he was getting pulled down.
Yeah, Tyler Pepples, offensive lineman, trailing on the play there. See a kind of...
just looks like the Middies got in the middle of that, and he was trying to flip it out there, I think, to Benny Powell. And then it became a hot potato here for a second. And looks like number 52 scoops that up.
Going to bring up a 3rd and 28 for the Hawks, so we might get to see what kind of arm Troutman has.
So Peoples on the offensive line scoops that up.
Yeah, that's a tough when younger quarterbacks come in. They don't have as much experience with the offense. Of course, they run into the JV level, but it's hard. Sometimes you just have to eat that ball. And this pitch comes clean to Benny Powell.
So Troutman back in there to Benny, and we'll see here. Powell goes into motion, and Troutman just steps back, tosses it to him, and the linebacker just steps up real quick for Middletown. And that's Casanova.
Going to have our first punt here by the Thunderhawks. Kenrich, the birthday boy, in the punt.
Haven't called Casanova's name too much, but we mentioned him as the second leading tackler in the GMC, as Charlie gets off a not so pretty punt, but he's going to get the nice east roll here.
That's going to improve the stats there when the ball's going to bounce north about 15, 20 yards.
And I think we got a little bit of laundry out on the field too. So there's a look at Charlie coming off.
Speaking of explosive offense, Dave, I'm checking scores from around the league, and Princeton is up big on Dublin Kaufman.
Wow.
Putting up 47 points here so far, and they're still playing. Coleraine ahead of Mason, 21-16.
There's one of those tough matchups in the GMC, Mason, Coleraine, and I think these Middletown Middies have to go over to Mason next week.
Have them next week.
things will not get any easier for them from tonight till next week.
Lakota West beating Oak Hills 37-3.
So we got an illegal block in the back. So that's going to push Middletown back even just a little bit further. After Kindred's got the nice roll, home field east roll there, it's going to push Middletown down to around the 6-yard line, 7-yard line. It looks like they'll start off.
Long field for Middletown, 87 yards away.
And they still looks like they got all their main personnel in there. They got trips right. Davis back there with, looks like, was that Dillard? And he hands it off to him, and he goes not too far.
Davis with the hard snap count call there, and the Middies haven't jumped since their first 3 plays of the game, so they definitely cleaned that up. Playing a lot more discipline than they did at the onset. But they're still not moving the ball. They're not getting that upfront blocking.
Been watching that late in the second and in the third quarter where he's trying to get that hard count to get the defense to jump, and the defense isn't. But he definitely tries that hard count. There it is again. Was hurting his offense at the beginning, so now he gets underneath one and throws one down the sidelines but out of bounds. And his favorite target there, number 8, Bell, had a couple of steps on the Hawks DB.
A well-thrown ball by Davis as he rolls out to his right and gets it down the right sideline, but unfortunately the receiver Bell just ran out of real estate there.
They're trying to pick up who we have out there on defense and who had that coverage. So now they got 5 wide, empty backfield. As Davis drops back inside his goal line, steps forward, throws a short pass to number 5.
He breaks free.
He's going to go up the right-hand side and find some real estate as Chambers takes a short pass across the middle and turns it into a big gainer for the Middies.
He's finally dragged to the ground by Dravon Files, who was injured before, so it's good to see Draven back on the field. But what a play by Chambers here.
Yeah, he just steps up, throws the ball here at the 10-yard line. Somebody tries to throw a shoulder tackle there and not wrap up. There's
Buckeye misses there.
3 broken tackles. And then finally, he thought he was out of bounds. And 23 just kind of jumps on his back and pulls him down.
Sidesteps Green. Stave Embry in there. And
so Files is able to finally ride him down from behind after 2 not so textbook tackles and broke 1 arm tackle. And we said these Middies weren't giving up and showing a little bit of fire in their belly here, even though they're down. Working hard here as Dillard gets the ball coming out wide left. He's dancing around looking for
containment on the outside by the corner.
Looking for some room and nothing there.
Good finishing tackle by L.J. Robinson, but I want to see that corner there. Did not allow the running back to sweep around the end.
Yeah, he stayed home and shut it down. And Dillard looked like he was going to try to change direction and go the other way, as we'll see here the handoff.
Here it comes again. Let's see.
So that's
Cam Freeman.
Number 9, Freeman back in there. And just seals that corner and forces him back into the teeth of the defense. As now
Davis tries for Calhoun, and Calhoun drops it. And I can't blame Calhoun. He's got to be physically exhausted.
Yeah,
been in the action on every single play.
Yeah, that young man's put in a lot of minutes tonight.
So 3rd and 12, 7 minutes left. The clock does continue to run since the Hawks are up 30+ here, even though it was an incomplete pass. And it speeds up the game. It helps the Middletown Middies just get back on the bus and not wear down. I know it takes some playing time away, but there's still a JV game tomorrow, so some of these kids will get more opportunities.
As Davis drops back and he's on the run once again, and he turns and throws right into the heart of the defense. That's picked off by the East Thunderhawks at midfield. As Davis threw that and tucked, as he had about 3 Hawks coming right at him. You'll see here.
Jake Reisner with the interception.
The linebacker flushes him out here, and he turns and just throws. And
Reisner steps in front, makes the good catch, and he got squashed by Taylor Cotton, 375 pounds.
So Jake
that was not Reisner. That was, yeah, it was.
Yeah, Reisner was in there.
But he got squashed by Cotton there. Paid the price for the interception, 375 pounds landing on you, but
I think
definitely
he's
worth it.
I think he's going to take it as Troutman hands off the ball to number 16.
Braden Relp, junior running back.
As he takes the ball forward. As Troutman runs over to get the play from coach. Here's the replay.
Braden Reap, sorry. Looked like an L on our sheet, but.
As number 16 goes flying through there. Breaks that first tackle. And falls forward for good positive yardage.
88 Noah Ranch.
Picks up 3.
With a block ahead. Good look at Troutman there under center.
So there's one to Benny Powell, and he's going forward. And Benny pulls a few along with him. And gets down to about the 30-yard line.
So Hawks methodically marching down the field here. Here's Troutman's handoff to.
Well, that's Richie that's in there, not Benny. So he steps in and takes the running back duties.
Mark
Richard. Number 32.
Fullback.
Seeing some action here at the varsity level. And he'll take that one again from Troutman. As he gets stood up and the whistles get blown.
So top of the screen there, Dave, Andy Vogelman with the block. I was talking to his dad earlier, the Quiet Storm. He said one of the promising sophomores there with birthdays in April of sophomore year. Smaller stature, but big heart and loves to play the game. So Vogelman in there throwing a block downfield, getting in the mix.
Nice to see that.
The Silent Storm. The Quiet Storm.
There, Troutman hands it off and just nothing going.
And he was thrown to the ground.
And all kinds of laundry come out after that.
Wow, that was frustration. J.J. Calhoun, J.C. Calhoun's brother, just let Troutman feel a little extra shove for no reason down to the ground. I don't like to see this necessarily. I don't think he intended harm, but maybe he did. But it's frustrating out there on the field after a long day of
not necessary.
Giving up a lot of scores.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought the play wasn't over, but that's going to cost Middletown 15 yards.
And you hate to see that because that's where injuries come in. And I know, like you said, he's
and Troutman doesn't deserve it.
Yeah,
quarterback.
Frustrated young man seeing an opportunity to hit a QB. So I'm sure his coach will have something to say to him about that later, and probably on film tomorrow. That won't look pretty. So Troutman stays in there. As 31 goes in motion for the Hawks, and Troutman keeps it.
And he's going to keep it and get a bunch of yards. I already hit the ground once. I might as well hit it again.
So that's
get
Cole
some yards out of it.
Hughes in there at the running back position. That was going in motion.
So good to see a lot of these junior and sophomore Hawks who work just as hard getting in the game. 3 minutes left, 3.5 left.
Yep.
Haynes gives Troutman the call.
I just saw 74 Gabriel Gambetti in there in the offensive line. He must have had the big block, looked over at the sidelines, looking for some affirmation from the coach. As the Hawks are knocking on the door. As the linemen do a little switch.
A little confusion on where they needed to be.
And now Troutman keeps it, goes off the left-hand side. And he's going to take it, I think, just inside the 5-yard line. As this second group is now knocking on the door. And
yeah, I don't know if Aiden took too fancy to be thrown to the ground there by Calhoun, but he's kept the last 2 balls since that, and he has.
Yeah, I think he's sniffing and smelling it.
9.5 yards himself.
Brings up 3rd and 1 from the 4-yard line. So the Hawks can either punch this in or get a first down and keep the ball here.
Patrick Slomba in the game off left tackle as well. See if they can run right behind him.
So now Troutman, I think, kept that again and is going to bring up 4th down.
I saw Andy Vogelman again on the big block up top.
Yep, Andy was in there. We'll see that here. Throwing.
Richter does not get the handoff from Troutman. Troutman keeps himself. All he needed was half a yard.
Yeah, I think I would have tossed that one out to Richter there. He's gone in motion 3 times, like you said, and I mean, he's got one-on-one coverage.
Thunderhawks opting not to kick a field goal here on
with
4th.
a lot of field on that side to run. So I'd like to see him run this play and then flip it to Richter here. So now we're going to go forward, just get for the 1st down.
You surprised they didn't kick a field goal there on 4th and 2? I guess no need to add 3 more points to the score.
Yeah, that's almost a PAT, so not too much experience for Hoffman. Maybe if it was a 20-something 30-yarder. I'd like to see the kicker get a chance and that special teams get a chance, because that's going to help you somewhere down the road, right? When you get in there.
Troutman laying on top.
You need a field goal, so.
Troutman just laid on top of Nick Frisch there and tried to stretch ahead for the 1st, but looks like he was a little short.
Now they're going to call that short, and they're going to turn the ball over on downs. I thought he had it.
Just short. He was laying on top of Frisch. Frisch was on the ground. Troutman was not, but the ball was just short, and they're not going to measure that. Hawks are not going to protest that.
Right.
They're going to give Middletown the ball on the.
So the clock holds for just a few on the change of possession. They're playing deep prevent defense as Davis is in the end zone as he hands off to Chambers, and he goes up the right-hand side, gets a few.
So they've got about 2 more plays left. What a dominant performance by the East Hawks, 49-7. 3 touchdowns in the air, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 1 special teams kick return touchdown. All cylinders firing, and
blocked punt.
Hawks are going to try and keep this momentum going against Hamilton. Hamilton, who hasn't played in 2 weeks under quarantine with COVID contact tracing protocol.
Yeah, then, add on to that your second team on both sides of the ball getting some quality reps here as the Middletown Middies throw the ball on the right-hand side to convert the 1st down. And we're probably about 1 play away here, Ken, as the clock continues to run. And the Hawks keep shuffling personnel in and out.
And Middletown wants to get the experience here at the end of the game, obviously.
Yep, looks like they're trying to run their offense still, trying to stay in a groove. Like I said, they're nothing easy coming with Mesa next week as Chambers scampers up the left-hand side for about 24 yards.
Draven Files with the final tackle of the game.
That'll help on the stats.
As well as Justin Green, and that's going to close us out, Dave.
Yep, that'll help on the stats on that last run, but that's going to help them on the scoreboard as your Lakota East Thunderhawks win over the Middletown Middies 49-7. And that'll be it here from the Hawks Nest. I thank you again, Dave Royce, Ken Yablonsky. We'll be back here next week. Share that link. Share that social media for Westchester Cable, and we'll see you then live from Lakota East High School.